Good morning, this is Ashley. I was struck this morning reading Proverbs 30 about two men and two women, types of men and types of women, that cause the earth itself to grieve. Proverbs 30, verse 20, starting in verse 21, under three things the earth trembles, under four it cannot bear up: a servant who becomes king, a fool who is full of food, an unloved woman who is married, and a maidservant who displaces her mistress. In this first one, the servant who becomes king, we've seen this before. It's any scenario where there's a sudden rise to power and yet no character development that can uphold that weighty position. It takes a long time to develop the type of life experience and character needed to become a king. But if somebody who has no experience, and this isn't just a scenario where, Jesus was a servant king. He led by serving, and a true leader is a servant. But this situation is describing somebody who is just suddenly given rule and authority that doesn't have the experience. And you might have seen this in your workplace before. That might be something you're trembling about right now. Maybe a brand new hire was suddenly given a huge position in your company, and you've been there for years and years and years. And it eats at your brain. You're not alone. In 1 Timothy, we're told that a new convert should not be given a position of leadership, meaning a brand new Christian should not be given a leadership role, because they can fall into conceit over that. It can get to their head. And that can easily happen. And we've seen that happen either at workplaces or in our society. A fool who is full of food. Now, the Proverbs has tons to say about fools. Fools versus wise. Proverbs is useful to learn wisdom, practical wisdom and moral wisdom. But this fool that it's talking about is somebody who is openly denying God, lives as though God doesn't exist or matter. They're morally perverse. Maybe they're abusive of their power, abusive of sex, disruptive in community life, a divisive person, not a peacemaker, very self-confident, but yet destructive. Oftentimes, Proverbs will talk a lot about how we will know a fool by the tongue. And then Jesus talked about out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. So this is a fool who has enough of everything material. They have enough food to eat. They have enough. We talked about something similar the other day in the video I did about grief over evil in the world, where Asaph was mourning because he just could not understand why he saw wickedness prosper, wicked people prosper and have healthy bodies and have wealth, until he understood their final destiny and pondered on that. But this Proverbs 30, it says, like, the earth trembles when that situation is going on. When somebody lives like that, lives as a fool, but yet has enough of everything they need on this earth. An unloved woman who is married, and that word, it's actually a bitter and hateful woman who's married. So this is a lady who not only has the bitter root in her heart, but it has grown into full-fledged hatred and sharpness. And she who should be the heart of the home is resentful and bitter and hateful, and it's poisoning her whole household. She's tearing down her household with this hatred. And we've seen that, and maybe some of you have been the recipient of that. Maybe you had an abusive mom, or maybe you're a male watching and your wife is abusive. We hear a lot about, males abusing females or husbands abusing wives, but it goes both ways, and I've seen that in my job. And a maidservant who displaces her mistress. So that is similar to the servant who becomes king, although this has the added element of it's almost a theft. You know, it's somebody who has stolen the position, and it's a pretty vague sentence, I think, because it can encompass a whole lot of painful situations. You know, maybe you are someone whose husband left you after years of faithful marriage for your daughter's friend, or for your friend, or for literally somebody who came to your house to help you out. It's a grief that causes the earth to tremble. And I've seen scenarios like that too. And so many with that, it's like sometimes the grief is not just the woman who took your position, but it's that everybody else around seems to be okay with it, and you are wondering what in the world. So I just thought that would be interesting to share this morning. And if any of you guys are going through something like that, maybe just look that up, Proverbs 30:21-23. And know that the Lord even says the earth trembles with what you've gone through. The earth grieves with you. Society grieves with you, whether they know it or not. And in his kingdom, which is here but not yet here all at the same time, it won't be like this. Isaiah talks about how in the kingdom of God, no more will a fool be called noble. You know, one day, good will not be called evil. Pride and arrogance and injustice will not be applauded. People shaking their fist in God's face, he'll shake his back. It won't always be like this.